Welcome to A-Level Geography Explained. This is your complete last-minute revision guide for regenerating places, part of the Edexcel A-Level Geography specification. Let's get straight into it. Places vary significantly in terms of their economic and social characteristics. These variations are shaped by historical development, economic structure, and patterns of migration, investment, and policy. One of the most important ideas in this section is the concept of place function. This refers to the role a place plays in the wider economy or society, for example, whether it's a commercial center, a commuter town, or a former industrial hub. These functions can evolve over time. For instance, coastal towns once dominated by tourism might now struggle with unemployment and seasonal economies, while former industrial areas may be redeveloping as service-based economies. Another crucial element is place meaning, the subjective perceptions and emotional connections people have with an area. This can differ widely between residents, businesses, and visitors. For example, a town undergoing gentrification may be viewed positively by newcomers and investors, but long-time residents might feel displaced or excluded. Places are socially constructed, and their meanings are constantly contested and negotiated. To measure place variation, geographers use both qualitative and quantitative indicators. Quantitative data includes statistics on employment, income, education, health, and crime, often combined into indices like the index of multiple deprivation. This helps identify patterns of inequality and target areas most in need of regeneration. For example, in England, areas like Blackpool and parts of Teesside rank among the most deprived, while places like St Albans and Wokingham consistently score well. Variations can also be linked to demographic factors such as age structure, ethnicity, and levels of deprivation. Deprived urban areas often have higher crime rates, lower educational outcomes, and worse health indicators. In contrast, commuter villages may have high employment and income levels but struggle with housing affordability and a lack of services. Qualitative research, such as interviews and perception studies, adds depth to these statistics. It helps reveal how people feel about a place, which is just as important when considering regeneration potential. Perceptions of a place, whether it's seen as declining, vibrant, dangerous, or welcoming, influence decisions by investors, policymakers, and residents alike. Regeneration is often needed in areas experiencing long-term decline. One of the key causes of this decline is deindustrialization, which refers to the reduction or closure of manufacturing industries, particularly in urban areas. This was driven by globalization and the shift of production to countries with lower labor costs. In the UK, cities such as Liverpool, Glasgow, and Sheffield saw major job losses during the 1980s and 1990s, leading to unemployment, outmigration, and social problems. These changes are linked to a broader global economic restructuring, where tertiary and quaternary industries are increasingly concentrated in major cities or growth hubs. Meanwhile, some towns and cities have been left behind, lacking the infrastructure or skills base to adapt. This leads to a spiral of decline, where job losses trigger population decline, falling house prices, increased crime, and deteriorating public services, all of which reinforce the need for regeneration. Regeneration is not just an urban issue. Many rural areas also require intervention due to changing economic conditions. The decline of traditional industries like farming, fishing, and mining, combined with an aging population and limited services, has left some rural communities struggling. In areas such as Cornwall, regeneration is needed not because of industrial collapse, but due to low wages, seasonal employment, and a heavy reliance on tourism. Another key factor is perception. Areas perceived as left behind or unsafe may struggle to attract investment, even if the statistics are improving. This makes rebranding and image change central to many regeneration schemes. For example, towns with high vacancy rates or visible dereliction may face a negative reputation that discourages businesses from locating there, perpetuating a cycle of decline. Moreover, inequality within regions can drive regeneration needs. Even within wealthy cities like London, there are pockets of severe deprivation, making targeted regeneration necessary. Regeneration, then, is not just about economic revival, it's about addressing inequality, improving quality of life, and creating inclusive, resilient places. Regeneration is managed through a range of strategies and partnerships involving central government, local councils, private investors, and community groups. One of the most common types is infrastructure-led regeneration, which uses large-scale transport or construction projects to kickstart economic development. Examples include high-speed to- and cross-rail, which aim to improve connectivity, attract investment, and open up new housing and commercial areas. Retail-led regeneration is another approach, seen in the redevelopment of shopping centres or high streets. The expansion of Westfield in Stratford is a prominent example, where retail was used to draw in consumers and anchor wider regeneration efforts. This often goes hand in hand with leisure facilities, housing development, and environmental improvements. Cultural and sport-led regeneration is also significant. Hosting international events like the Olympics or building new stadiums and art centers can revitalize areas and boost tourism. These strategies are often tied to place rebranding, reshaping the identity of a place to attract inward investment and alter public perception. These can have long-term benefits, though outcomes vary depending on local context and stakeholder engagement. There are two main approaches to managing regeneration: top-down and bottom-up. Top-down strategies are often led by national government or major investors, with little community involvement. The London Docklands Development Corporation is a classic example, where derelict docklands were transformed into Canary Wharf, a financial centre with luxury housing, but also criticism over lack of benefits for existing residents. In contrast, bottom-up regeneration focuses on local initiatives, often involving community groups or social enterprises. These projects tend to prioritize social goals over profit and are more tailored to the specific needs of local people. Though smaller in scale, they can be more inclusive and sustainable. Examples include community-run housing, local food projects, or small-scale environmental improvements. One of the most celebrated recent examples is the regeneration of East London linked to the 2012 Olympics. This involved infrastructure investment, housing development, and job creation, but also faced issues like gentrification, rising house prices, and questions about long-term benefits for lower-income residents. Evaluating these trade-offs is essential for exam answers. Salford Quays, once part of Manchester's industrial shipping network, faced decline after the closure of the docks in the 1980s. It has since been regenerated into a major hub for media, culture, and business. The centerpiece is Media City UK, home to the BBC and ITV, which brought new jobs and revitalized the area's economy. Other developments include the Lowry Arts Complex, housing, and improved public spaces. Economic impacts include job creation, business growth, and increased tourism. Socially, there have been improvements in local services, education partnerships, and amenities. However, not all residents have benefited equally. Concerns remain about housing affordability and job accessibility for lower-skilled workers. Nevertheless, Salford Quays is often cited as a successful example of urban waterfront regeneration. Success in regeneration is measured using a mix of economic, social, and environmental indicators. Economic success might include higher employment rates, increased average income, or new business growth. Social success could involve improved education, reduced crime, better health outcomes, and enhanced community cohesion. Environmental success might be judged on sustainability, air quality, green space, or biodiversity gains. These metrics are often combined in post-project evaluations to determine whether regeneration has truly improved quality of life. However, success is not universal. Benefits may be unevenly distributed, or only felt in the short term. For example, while an area may see a rise in average income, this could reflect wealthier newcomers rather than improvements for existing residents. Stakeholders often have different views on what success looks like. Local authorities may focus on economic growth and image improvement, while residents prioritize affordability and community. Investors seek return on investment, whereas environmental groups want sustainable outcomes. These differences can lead to conflict, especially in areas undergoing gentrification. The Eden project in Cornwall is a useful example. It brought jobs, tourism, and educational opportunities, but also seasonal employment and pressure on infrastructure. In London, the Olympic Park regeneration delivered new housing, transport links, and parkland, but also saw rising property prices and displacement. In both cases, regeneration achieved many objectives, but not without drawbacks. A critical, balanced approach is key. Thanks for watching. The full topic playlist can be found on my channel, along with summary videos for all other topics. Please like and subscribe if this helped your revision. Goodbye.